back to the Chargers and their big win against Atlanta in just a couple of minutes. Got to give some love to San Diego State, who on Friday night completely destroyed San Jose State. And there he is, Kid Pumphrey. He just keeps on moving up the charts. He didn't even have that big of a game on Friday night. They didn't need him. Even the guy behind him, Rashad Penny, is a really good running back. San Diego State, total demolition of San Jose State. Now, this week, the Aztecs play early on Friday night. Again, 3 straight Friday night football games.
Awesome.
Because of television. Terrible.
Awesome.
Horrible.
Fantastic.
So bad.
Exposure.
Not really. This could keep going back and forth.
Yeah, but you're talking about hundreds of football games, and only a select few land on Friday night.
Yeah, and the question becomes, who's watching those games? Billy Ray. Empty nester at home by himself watching the football
I
games.
invite people over on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Well, there's a lot of issues facing the next athletic director for San Diego State. We all know the story when Jim Sturk took off for Missouri. And today, San Diego State announces the hiring of a new athletic director. And to some degree, this is a homecoming. Say hello for the first time to the new athletic director at San Diego State, John David Wicker, on the Corky's hotline on Scott and BR. John David, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Scott. Good afternoon, Billy Ray. Excited to be back in San Diego State, and joining you guys on the radio today.
Appreciate that. Should we call you John David?
Come on, JD. You got to go with JD.
JW. What do you prefer?
You know, JD or John David works out real well. And, right. Scott, you probably wouldn't remember this. At the Sportsman's Banquet a couple years ago, you totally gave me a hard time. As I got taken off the board, you're like, who is this John David guy, and why is he using double names? And, of course, Billy Ray, you stood up for me, and I appreciate that.
Well, no,
Scott, why would you do that to him?
I remember,
so rude.
I remember vividly, JD, and I said to Billy Ray on the stage that night, I said, I don't trust a guy who goes
3
by
names?
2 names,
Right.
John David. And Billy Ray went, what's wrong? What's the problem with 2 names?
Yeah, I love those guys.
I don't get it.
Us Southerners have to stick together, Billy Ray.
That's exactly right.
So, John David Wicker, I say it's kind of a homecoming. Could you just take us through a little bit of, because you came to San Diego State, as I recall, with Jim Sturk when he came here from Washington State. Is that right?
I was at Washington State with Jim for approximately 8 years, and then Jim was actually in San Diego for about a year or a little more before I came down and joined him, and spent 4 great years on the Mesa with Jim.
And if you could, because, again, this is the first time that a lot of Aztec fans will have heard from you, just the resume. Where did you start in collegiate athletics?
I started out at Southern Miss. I was actually an accountant out of college and did that for a little bit, and then went to Southern Miss and followed that up with graduate school at the University of Georgia, and actually spent 3 years in the athletic department in Athens and worked the 1996 Olympics in Athens. We hosted the medal rounds for soccer, and that was a great experience. And moved from there back to Southern Miss, working in event and facility operations, and then out to Washington State, wanted to explore the West Coast, was there for 10 years in event and facility operations, and, gradually grew in my duties there. That's where I hooked up with Sturk, and then he brought me to San Diego State, deputy director of athletics, and his number 2, his right-hand guy, and it was really enjoyed it. Had a great time, and then had an opportunity to kind of return home to the Southeast, to Georgia Tech, and kind of get a different experience and see what that was like. And it was a great 15 months on the flats in Atlanta. But I'm excited to be back at San Diego State with a great group of people, a great group of coaches and staff, folks that I know, and obviously Sdsu Athletics is doing great right now.
Sure is. We're talking to John David Wicker. He is the new athletic director at San Diego State. Look, dude, we're going to talk a lot over the next few years. How long a contract did you sign so we know how long we got to how deep I got to go?
Second.
How deep
he
I
can
got
get another one.
Deep I got to go early. How long did you sign on for?
I am signed on for, it basically runs almost 5 years. So that June 30th, and we're still working through the contract. We have a signed MOU. but it'll be whatever June 30th from 5 years from now.
Well, congratulations on that. What would you say, John David, is the number one issue? You know San Diego State well. You've mentioned your time working for an SEC school, for a Pac-12 school, for an ACC school. What is the number one issue facing San Diego State athletics as it applies to not being in a major power conference for football and basketball?
Yeah, obviously, revenue generation is something that's key. I mean, revenue drives the engine. It helps us hire great coaches and staff, helps us support our student athletes. So as you look at the stadium issue that's out there and understanding what that's going to be with the Chargers vote and then Mission Valley, the discussions we've had with MLS, and I haven't been privy to a lot of that at this point. I'll obviously be sitting down with the folks on campus to understand what's been said. But getting the football stadium project right, we need to create a stadium that's right for San Diego State, one where we can generate a lot of excitement, similar to Viejas, where you can get a more intimate crowd, one that generates premium revenue. People want to come to the game. It generates season ticket revenue, third-party marketing rights. That's going to be the biggest thing on my plate moving forward. And, I'm excited to hear what's happened, and I'm excited to get out and get into the community and hopefully get this moving forward.
Wait a second. Hold on. You're saying that the number one issue right now for San Diego State athletics is a football stadium?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is that's what we need to – that's our biggest piece that's out there that we need to start working on.
Huh. That is really interesting.
And when you use a word like intimate, it suggests to me that it's toward the smaller side of stadiums.
I think it's and I think Jim put this out there as we talked about. I mean, I think you're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40,000. It's the perfect size stadium for a school like San Diego State at this point.
So if the stadium is your number one issue walking through the door, what about conference affiliation?
Conference affiliation, obviously, the Big 12 has done what the Big 12's done, which was essentially nothing at this point. We're members in good standing with the Mountain West Conference. We're going to continue to compete for championships in the Mountain West Conference, and we'll survey the landscape of college athletics. I don't know, what's going to be next. Obviously, it will be interesting to talk with the people in various conferences, to talk to, Craig Thompson in the Mountain West and just understand what they're seeing. But right now we're going to concentrate on winning championships, getting to the NCAA tournament, and, keeping an eye on what's going out there at the same time.
Well, we look forward to talking to you many more times. We look forward to seeing you around town. Congratulations on your new deal to become the athletic director at San Diego State. And we wish you all the best, and anything we can do to support you, we're here, because we are huge Aztec supporters here at 1090.
Well, Scott and BR, I appreciate the time and look forward to seeing you guys soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Thank you, John David. Congratulations.
Thanks, JD.
All right. Thank y'all.
John David Wicker. There you go.